Well, welcome to Backstage with Geoffrey Morrissey. This is awesome to be here with the Districts. Backstage at the Sinclair. I know that you guys sort of helped rearrange your schedule to make this happen. Really appreciate it. Thank you all so much, and welcome to Cambridge.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And then if you could just introduce yourself for our listeners, that would be awesome.
I'm Connor.
I'm Braden Lawrence.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Robbie.
Are you not going to say your last name?
No.
No. It's all right.
It was really funny.
I'm Braden Lawrence. It's all right. Well, thank you. Again, thank you guys so much. And you had a show in D.C. last night, drove halfway to Philly. But Philly to Boston is not exactly an easy car ride. So what do you do to pass the time when you're on the fan/bus?
We should just read or listen to music and sleep.
Yeah. Sleep, drive, do whatever.
And what's been in the earphones and on the books right now?
I just finished a book of short stories by Tobias Wolff, and now Braden's reading it. What you guys listening to?
What was the Elliott Smith, the Either Or album? It's really good.
So does it turn into like a book club on tour? Like, does everyone by the end of it like end up reading the same thing? Because that's kind of awesome.
Sometimes, yeah.
Great. And then, so Robbie, I know that if you were going to go to school, you were going to major in English. So, like, what are some of your favorite authors and favorite books that really kind of influenced you as a songwriter?
Well, recently, yeah, the Tobias Wolff book was really good. It was the first one I read by him, but it was awesome. And before that, I read short stories by Raymond Carver. They were awesome. Let's see, what else? At least recently, really like J.M. Coetzee. He's from like South Africa. Mm-hmm. Like writes a lot about like apartheid and stuff. So I'd say those three are at least recently.
Carver. There was one story with him. It was like the loaf of bread where the baker bakes the loaf of bread for the ones that lost the child. Do you remember that?
I don't think that was in the one I read.
Okay, it's a cool one. I think it was like A Small Good Thing, I think was the name of it.
Okay, cool.
So I know that like when a lot of bands are writing, they don't listen to music, just, sort of, superstition isn't the right word, but just out of practice. So with your music being so like heavily based around songwriting, do you read when you're writing, or do you try to stay away from that?
I don't really separate it too much. Like, I kind of, when I read it, it's like in spurts. Like I'll read a lot for like a short period, then I won't read for a little bit. So it kind of just depends. I feel like all of us normally when we read just like fiction books. So like it's like gonna be different from like a song, anyways. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's like a good way to influence it without being something that'll influence it too heavily, I guess. But.
No, awesome. And then so one of the things I found really cool is that you guys did yoga on tour one year. Are you still doing yoga, and how does it kind of affect the performances? Because that's, when you picture a rock band going to take the stage, you do not picture them in like, I don't know, Downward Dog before, but it's kind of awesome.
We all like stretch and stuff a bit, but I feel like it's been a lot less. Like I used to try to do a lot more. I feel like we all did, but like probably got kind of lazy with it. But we all stretch.
It's just pretty hard to fit into the schedule because you're really tired in the morning. So more just light stretching,
I mean, I was going to say, I couldn't picture the time or the space that you would have to do it, but the fact that you guys did was pretty awesome.
There's some times where you feel inspired and you go for a run or something, but that's like not as often as I would like it to be.
Yeah, same. You are better men than me for even attempting that. So one of the scenes I'm really fascinated with here in the States is Philadelphia. I know that you guys aren't, originally Philly, Lancaster, and then to even go back for Lilitz. Is that the best way to pronounce it? Or is it? Lidditz. Okay. But it seems like every great rock act is coming out of the Keystone State. I don't know why you guys, why that is the best way to put it. Why do you think is it just like the scene is supportive, or?
There's probably good music like in a lot of cities, but Philly just happens to have some things that are popping up right now probably.
Well, also like one of the big things people talk about now is just like, whereas before it was like everyone went to LA or New York and stuff, like a lot of people just stay in small, Philly's still a really big city, but like it's just way cheaper and so that's a big thing with I guess a lot of cities that aren't like the first ones that come to mind, just because you can actually afford to be like an artist there, whereas no one can just play in a band and live in New York unless they have like a huge trust fund or something.
Exactly, and no one wants to hear the music of a rich kid, which I know is a horrible thing to say. But, all right, so I first listened to you guys, well, not first, but the first time I kind of got to saw you live a little bit was I walked in about halfway through the Boston Calling set, and it was so incredible, and you just sort of stopped, and then for a minute it was just like, oh, like, fuck, like, you guys are really, really good. How many of your fans are converts from those bigger festivals where, you know, people might not have been coming out to see you, but they got more than they bargained for and they're hooked?
I'm not really sure, actually. Like, it's kind of hard to tell when because we usually just play and then like meet very few people, and so I don't know. I actually don't really know.
Are you more conscious when you're playing festivals of like how it's gonna appear, if that makes sense?
Totally, yeah. It's definitely like less intimate, and like sometimes like it seems like the crowd's really into it and we have a lot of fun, but sometimes it can just be like just not as fun or intimate, but like there's a lot of people, so that's cool. So yeah, it's just a lot different than club shows.
Yeah. No, definitely. So when you guys first started, you started off with more with cover-based stuff, and now I don't see a ton of covers left in the set list, or really any that I've seen this tour. What sort of inspired the shift, other than obviously you have great songs of your own to sing, but has it been something that you guys have tried to stay away from covers as a band, or?
Well, we only like started doing covers when we first started because we didn't have any other songs really. We just had like one song, our first show, that was an original, but like we intended, like when we started the band, to just write songs and not play covers or anything like that. So we do like a cover every once in a while, but we haven't really done one in a while, except on Halloween. Yeah, we
sometimes we'll like record, like we did this David Bowie cover for like a compilation, but we never played it live. So sometimes we do random stuff like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then sort of going back to the old days, I haven't been able to find it online, but Kitchen Songs, it was the first album. I'm interested to know, I mean, I heard While You Were in Hunsdale, and that is insane to think of how young you guys were when you wrote that. I mean, that's pretty incredible. But when was the last time you heard one of the early ones and just sort of like listened to it, and what was the reaction to it, like looking back now?
It's actually like, because Pat's never listened to it, because Pat joined the band.
Really? Yeah. Well, I know you joined late.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, so like he never heard it, and one day we were just like literally in the kitchen, and we're like, we played it, and it's like, I guess it's not, we don't like it. Yeah, it's like, oh man, well, we were just a bunch of little kids. Like some of it's alright. Some,
like a guitar solo that Mark had that was like fucking crazy. I thought, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was cool.
It's not something that, it's like, it's cool that people like it. Like some people still like, where can I buy that? That's cool, but like it's not really something, not that we're not proud of it, but it's like, yeah, we're just very removed from that.
I mean, every high school has that band, and I mean, when you hear, you guys don't sound like that high school band. You sound so mature, and it's just really kind of awesome. But so I can somewhat relate, not completely. I mean, 530 people did not pay good money to see me on a random Tuesday night, let alone at 10:30. But being young in music is not necessarily the easiest thing to do. So, for your perspective, what has been one of the toughest things that you've had to break through in order to? Because I know you guys don't want to be known as that young band. What has been one of the toughest things to break through?
I guess for like press reasons, like just that, like they would always focus on us being young, and I guess that kind of like took away from like focusing on the music more. But lately that has been happening, which is nice. Like they are just really just focusing on the music instead of just our age.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the most, like, if you listen to One Direction, like, no one goes, can you believe they're 15? Like, when you listen to your music, it's so mature and evolved. I think that has a big part to do with it. So it's definitely a compliment, to say the least. But so what has been one of the most surreal moments for you guys when you've just sort of like had a moment where you're either on stage or I can't believe I'm meeting this person, or I can't believe I'm playing this city? Has there been, like, and it can be different for all of you, like one thing that was just kind of like, whoa.
I guess opening for Rolling Stones was fucking crazy.
Really?
But we didn't get to meet them, but it was just like a weird show just because there was so many people there. It was really strange, but seeing them play live was really awesome. They just played really well.
Yeah, I'd add to that just like being in certain places too. Just like the first time we like played a London show, and like when we were in Tokyo this year, it was just like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like when you realize you're like on the other side of the world playing music, it's really cool.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And then when you do, I feel bad because you guys sort of have had the busiest year that a band could possibly have with the amount of tours, festivals, etc. And I bet that you have to do a lot of these painful press interviews, and you get like the same question over and over again, whether it be the age or whatever. What do you wish that people would ask you about? What do you like want to talk about? Because this always fascinates me. Everyone has a different answer.
I mean, this was a question. It was a question that you asked for him. I thought it was good. You asked like what he was reading and stuff. Like that's something that's not necessarily. Well, I don't think.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's like
that's a good question.
no one asks about that stuff, and like I don't know. I feel like people don't ask enough questions about like what people in bands are really like as normal people, because like for the most part, other than people that are just like really full of themselves, like bands are just like made up of like pretty normal people. So like. At least for me, like when I'm like interested in a band, like I like to wonder like what they do, just like day to day. You know what I mean? It's probably pretty similar to what I do, but like I guess maybe they don't ask because it's not always that exciting. But yeah, but I just think it's interesting to like get some insight on bands as just people, you know. Yeah.
Well, exactly. One of the things, like when I say people like, oh, I'm going to do this, like they picture me like going to this person saying, you know, the sky is blue on Tuesday in Rwanda, and like you walk through the door and it's like this magical place, but we just sat around and ate chips and salsa for a half hour. Like it's pretty normal, and it's a lot of fun. It's like hanging out with friends. But so speaking of hanging out, are you guys? I know that you're tour, you're together. Are you still living in that one house in Philly together as well?
Not the small one. So 2 years ago now, I guess, me, Connor, Braden, Mark, our old guitar player, and two of our other friends lived in a 3-bedroom apartment with 6 people. Mm-hmm. So that was just for a year. That was insane. And then last year we moved in with one different roommate because Mark was going back to school. So now there's 6 of us in a 6-bedroom place. That's much more doable. It's just like a big house. But yeah, so all of us except Pat live together, but Pat lives with my girlfriend and one of our best friends, Caitlin, around the corner from us. So
nice.
We're all close.
I mean, I give you guys a lot of credit because that could be a recipe for disaster for bands. Like when everyone lives together, sometimes that goes down a hill. So you guys, your sound is incredible. It's different. It's unique. It's something that really sort of takes you right away. But as you guys, it's your first big album. What would you say your biggest weakness is and the thing that you want to improve the most in the second album? There's not one that like is so easily identifiable. Yeah. It's not like
Well, I think we could just kind of. I mean, like we've always kind of like every step along the way tried to like experiment more from where we were before, but yeah, I guess just like kind of like pushing ourselves out of our comfort level more is one thing, because that's just healthy and fun.
And where would you say the biggest comfort level is for this band? Because, like, I hate when people make a big deal of the genre thing and, like, oh, are they rock, are they folk? What would you say your biggest comfort or where it is easiest for you guys to exist if you had to pick, like, one genre?
I mean, I guess, like, we are, like, a rock band. Like, so, like, with, I think one of the things, like, just, like, we've always just had 2 guitars, bass, and drums just because, like, A, that's what we played, A, that's what we owned, or B, that's what we owned. Not 2 A's, but yeah, so kind of, like, just, like, I don't know, we were talking about the other night, like, on some of our older music, like, we had no options with a lot of stuff because we, like, couldn't afford a lot of gear. Like, we just had, like, a distortion pedal, but now we kind of have more options, so it's easier to experiment. So, like, I'd say part of the comfort level is just, like, or the comfort zone thing is just, like, partially just out of what resources we have, like, or had of, like we've just always, like, we have, like, the rock band setup, like 2 guitars, bass, and drums, but yeah, just trying to kind of, I think, like, we were just trying to push that as, like, in more unusual directions, I guess, than just, like, the expected thing, which we've always tried to do, but, like, yeah, I guess just trying to do it in more creative ways, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. And then this is always one of my favorites. And this could be different for everyone. If you guys could take one song and claim it as your own and say, this is mine, what would that song be for you?
Should we each pick a different one, maybe?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, this could be like hours if we all have to come to a consensus and vote.
I'm going to pick, maybe Hotel Chelsea No. 2 by Leonard Cohen.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Would it be, like, too cliche to say Day in the Life by the Beatles? Because that's just, that's a masterpiece.
Yeah. Mine would be Let It Be, so not too cliche at all.
Yeah, A Day in the Life, masterpiece.
Probably just because I'm listening to Elliott Smith right now. Probably The Ballad of Big Nothing, like that song a lot.
Probably AM 180 by Granddaddy.
All awesome choices, and then that leads me very well into my last question. Who has your ear right now? Who are you guys listening to? I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but
yeah, Elliott Smith.
I've been listening to a lot of Broadcast. They're really cool. I mean, we've all been listening to them, but yeah, just recently.
I feel like my answer is always Animal Collective, but I can't shake it. Love Animal Collective.
Some like Brian Eno, like ambient albums I've been getting into. Some good stuff.
Awesome. Well, they are the Districts. They are awesome. Their album of Flourish and Spoil is out now. If you have not listened to it, listen to it. You owe it to yourself. It is incredible. And I'm Geoffrey Morrissey, and thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.